What happened was.
Hey friends, it's so nice to see you. It's today, the time is now. You are here and the weather is outside your window.
It's so nice to see you and be here with you today. Hope you're having a fabulous day. Isn't summer wonderful? The smells in the air, the flowers, the opportunity to be outside with the ones you love. Yeah, it's pretty swell. Today's guest was enjoying a 30-plus year career as an entertainer in Hawaii when she was swept away to New York City to star in the Broadway revival of South Pacific at Lincoln Center. Please welcome my friend, Tony nominee, stage and screen actor, chanteuse, and one of the most magical people on planet Earth, Loretta Sayre.
Hi!
Aloha, darling.
Aloha,
How
my
are
mama.
you?
How are you?
Mwah. I love you.
I love you. Thank you so much for coming on.
Oh, thank you for asking me, honey.
Yeah,
Really,
of
I mean,
course.
you could have had anybody in the world, and so I appreciate it.
You're my everybody
Yes.
in the world, so
Oh,
yeah, my heart.
Zachary.
It's so nice to see you.
It's so nice to see you. I was just thinking the last time that I saw you, you were here in my house.
In your home, in
You
your
were in my
backyard,
home
eating
macarons.
Yes.
And
Oh, it was so wonderful. It was such a wonderful day, and so incredible to see you after so many years.
I know.
Yeah.
Too many. Let's end this
many.
stretch and see each other face to face.
We shall, I promise.
Okay.
Yeah. And we of course met doing South Pacific on Broadway at Lincoln Center.
Right.
Which is now somehow over 10 years ago.
Isn't that amazing? How did that happen?
I'm not sure.
And we got to dance together every night.
We did. And you're such an example in my life of how when you're doing a show with someone, they become your family. And you just fall in love with not everyone, of course, but but
let's do a whole show talking about them. Huh?
Yeah, let's do it. But it's such a special, unique thing when you're doing a long-running show and the people around you become your family. And
right. And you really love them, and you really love working with them and seeing them. Yes. And missing them terribly when they're not around you.
Yes, because we spent our holidays together and
exactly
everything.
Exactly. We spend more time working with each other than we do our own, spending time with our own real families.
Absolutely. And oftentimes at intermission, you would make us a wonderful snack in the canteen. And what is it? That
was one of my favorite things to do. Well, because you guys were like all my kids, right?
Right.
And so much older than everybody else. And I love to cook and I love to bake. So in between shows, I would go home and bake something and bring a warm pan or trays of stuff. And you were always willing to try everything that I made.
And seconds and thirds.
Yes. Well, that's because you were taller than all the other sailors, and you could reach right over their heads and grab something.
Yes. So the South Pacific was your first Broadway show, and of course you live in Hawaii. And let's spoil it right away and tell everyone that you were nominated for a Tony Award, which is, I still remember performing on the Tonys that year and looking out and seeing you in that green dress with David out in the audience and right on the aisle, and it was such an incredible, unforgettable day.
A magical night that in one way I'll never forget, and the other way is you can't remember any of it because it was just this blur of fantastic. I can't believe Harry Connick Jr. is sitting right there. Wow. I mean, I could pinch his ear if I wanted to. Ear, I said.
Well, you very much belonged there, right next to Harry Connick. And
oh, honey, thank you.
It's been so exciting to watch the entire world get to know you and how special you are over the past decade. So I know the story, and I've listened to it a couple times, and I've sat and wept in your home while you told me the story again. But it's one of the most incredible stories I've ever heard of a Broadway debut, and just how it came to be. Can you tell us
Sure.
the
I'll try
story.
to truncate it because
Yeah,
we could have a glass of wine and talk about this for hours.
forever.
But basically, I live here in Hawaii, and I had a modicum of success singing jazz standards in Honolulu for 20 plus, 25 plus years at that point. And
And
I
you're
got
being
a
slightly modest, though, saying I'm like,
no, I mean,
yeah,
no, because there are a lot of great singers here. And what I'm really grateful for is that I was able to make a living being a singer,
yeah,
here in Hawaii. But Broadway was something that just didn't even really enter the picture because eh, we're in Hawaii as far south and west as you can be in the United States. And Broadway and New York is as basically as far east as you can get from us. And
right.
the possibilities of me going across the country and getting a role on Broadway, is about as minimum as you could even think of. And anyway, this opportunity came up for me to audition for the show. There was talk about Lincoln Center doing this revival of South Pacific, and they were looking for a Bloody Mary. And a friend of mine that was from New York told powers that be that if you can't find one, you need to look in Hawaii, because I know somebody there that could do it. And they ended up sending a casting agent, and they did an open casting to see women in general, but they wanted to see me. They requested that I was there. And they now at the time I was I was holding 3 jobs down. I was singing during the daytime, Japanese weddings, 6 days a week. In the afternoons, I would be in the studio doing voiceover work for commercials and television. And at night, I was singing 5 nights a week in a 5 diamond property. So I didn't have a lot of free time, and I got this packet in the mail, and I was looking at it, and I was overwhelmed. And I almost decided, well, basically I decided about 45 minutes before I had to be at the audition at Diamond Head that I wasn't going to go. And I went upstairs to my husband's office, and I told him I wasn't going to go. And he was stunned, and he said, why? And I said, I don't want to make a fool of myself. These casting agents are from New York, and what are they looking for in me? I'm not a trained vocalist. I've never had any training. I'm not a trained actor. I'll make a fool of myself. And he said to me, but you have to go, because I don't want you 6 months from now to wonder whether or not you can do this. Why not just go and do the best that you can? And I said, but I haven't memorized these, sides. I haven't memorized the song yet. And he said, just work on it. I'll drive. And he grabbed his keys, and we jumped in the car, and we drove to Diamond Head. And again, I just didn't even want to get out of the car. And I went in there, and now the room is filled with all these wonderful actors and singers in Hawaii. And, you just want to run screaming back home. And I figured I was there, might as well do it. And took a deep breath and went through all of the entire audition, and they videotaped it. And then I was going to throw the packet out as I walked out, because really, what are the odds? This is ridiculous. And the agent that was holding this session said to me, okay, just letting you know that not everybody that's involved with this audition in New York is going to be able to see this right away. It probably is going to take about 6 weeks for everybody to see it, and then you'll hear something. And so I said, fine. And I walked out, and I thought, okay, I made it through this. Let's just get out of here. And
Did
3
you have
days
to go
later,
sing that night?
yes,
Of course.
yes, I had to sing. So I had to just kind of like, when you walk out of an audition that you've stressed out so much over, and you're done. You're
Yes.
just done with it.
Yes.
Let it go. That's it. And 3 days later, my phone rang. And it was the casting agent. He had just gotten back to New York, and he was putting this tape together for the director to see, who happened to walk in and saw over his shoulder. And he said, wait a second, play that Loretta girl again. So he played my audition part again. And the director, Bart Shear, said,
Tony, Bart Shear.
It's her. Call her, let's see her. So what was supposed to take maybe 6 weeks took 3 days for them to call me back. And what they said was, you have been requested to come to New York for a callback audition at Lincoln Center. I mean, these are like words that, and I kept asking over and over. And of course I asked him, well, who else from Hawaii is going? And there was silence. And he said, nobody.
Wow.
It's just you. And then I started crying, and I don't think I stopped for the next 3 months. Anyway, I went to New York for a callback, went to Lincoln Center, and really thought I blew it there. I thought I blew it in Honolulu. I really thought I blew it in New York. And I felt the weight that I had let, everybody down that had, whose shoulders I had stood on to be there. Oh. And you don't have anything to reference whether or not you did a good job. It's like, right. Here, speak another language today.
And here you are showing up in New York at Lincoln Center, the kind of show palace of the world for the arts, right? And
it's so big, I couldn't even. So when I did that final audition, and they said, okay, so everybody is here in the room, and we just want you to come in and do your very best. And this really magical kind of thing happened. I don't even know that I've told you about this before, but it was 5 minutes to 4. My audition was at 4. No, I'll make this really short. But at 5 minutes to 4, when I thought, this is it, everything that I've ever wanted to do is now coming to fruition. The possibility of it happening is coming to fruition right now. And this is a make or break thing. And I was so upset, and I was so worried. And I just stood there and prayed, hoping that I could just get through this situation. And all of a sudden, this calm came over me. And I looked at the clock, and I remembered that it was 5 minutes to 4. And in this centering thing that you do before you go out into this big thing, I just realized, or maybe it was a voice that came, or who knows, angels whispering in my ear. But this calm came over me that everything was going to be okay, that no matter how it turned out, it was going to be fine, because the possibility of this even happening was the furthest thing in my mind. And look, here I was.
Yeah.
And the biggest validation ever happened, and that was somebody. And then it turned into somebody's along the way, thought that I maybe had enough talent to be seen. Just that, to have somebody think that you have enough so that we can even see you, was more than I could ever ask for. So I no longer felt like I was letting anybody down, that I was carrying this burden. At this moment, I thought, I can soar, because nothing can happen. If they say no, it's okay. They brought me to New York to audition. And so I looked at the clock. It was 5 minutes to 4. There's a knock on the door. Ira Weitzman, who was the head of musical theater there at Lincoln Center, came to get me. And he brought me into this room, and there was maybe 18 people sitting at all these conference tables.
Wow.
And I just thought, I'm going to have the most fun that I can have. And we went into it. Bart said, let's take it from the top. And I did this entire audition. And Bernie Telsey asked me to sit outside. Bernie Telsey is like, is he the biggest?
Yeah, I think he's the biggest casting director
casting
in the world
agent in New York. And he asked me to sit outside. And I thought, well, that was fun. We could put you on a plane tonight.
Right. Get out.
And then he came back out, and he said, they'd like to talk to you. And that's when Bart walked up, and he said, well, we know that you're getting on a plane soon to go back to Hawaii. And we all sat here and talked, and we decided that we wanted to ask you if you would be our Bloody Mary. And my brain was thinking, God, if they ask me to be an understudy, I'm going to die. And I never heard understudy, and my brain froze, and I didn't answer. And he said, did you hear me? We'd like you to be our Bloody Mary.
Wow.
And my life changed in that minute. It changed. And then he introduced me to Mary Rogers, daughter of Richard Rogers, and Alice Hammerstein, daughter of Oscar Hammerstein. And one of the biggest compliments that I could have ever gotten was Mary Rogers said the men upstairs would be very happy.
Oh my goodness.
And
Yeah.
so that's how then I met you, and you know,
History.
my life was changed from that minute.
And you were so incredible in the show. I mean, it was just so magical to watch you. And I remember the Zitz probe, of course, when we sang with the orchestra for the first time, and just the tears.
Oh, I could barely get through the song.
Yeah.
And that was because even though I'd made my living here in Hawaii as a singer, I worked with pianists and guitarists and jazz trios and everything. I had never sung with an orchestra.
Right.
And when you hear that score played by an orchestra.
A 40.
Right. And
Yeah.
you know, when we're rehearsing, we have a rehearsal pianist
Right.
that we're working with. So then you hear the harp strike happen in the beginning of that song. I couldn't breathe. I was just thinking, oh my God, this is where I have to sing the first line.
Yeah.
And I had to sing through that song, and the room is filled with everybody. The entire cast is there, and everybody with the Rodgers and Hammerstein organization, and everybody with Lincoln Center, everybody was there. And I was trying so hard to not make a fool of myself and get through this song. And the end of that song, I had to hit the third Bali high line, repeat, and I knew this is the end of the song, and sustain the note. And my body was shaking, and my diaphragm was shaking, and I was just thinking, please let me finish this line. And I did, and the tears flowed. And they asked me if I was okay, if there was something wrong, and I had to say, I was turning 50 years old, and I had never sung with an orchestra. I mean, how do you explain that kind of magic?
Yeah.
You know, in your life?
Yeah.
It was just, oh, sorry.
No, it's the very
It's
best
incredible.
story. It's one of the best stories I've ever heard. And it was such a privilege to be there and witness that moment. And I got to be on stage with you every day as you sang that song.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I got to be with you, and look at you, Mr. I'm in opera, I've done Broadway, I'm in the world. It's like Zach James takes the country. Zach James takes Europe and takes opera by storm. I love it. I know you. It's incredible.
You've always been so kind to me, and many moments, you know, we talk about that family thing that happens at a Broadway show, but I came to you with all of my boy problems and all of my life problems knocking on your door, and you'd hold my hand and you'd pray. And, you know, it was just such a wonderful time, that cast.
The family, that's what we do. You know?
Yeah.
And it's not like we're just doing the show on the stage together for 3 hours. We actually get involved in each other's lives, and you know, you care care about some more than you do others.
Well, thank you for caring about me.
I love you. Or you,
I love you
forever.
Yeah, it was really special. And it's also something I don't take for granted, because, you know, we all know so many people that have been in so many Broadway shows, and there are people that have been in 20 Broadway shows that have never experienced something as successful and celebrated as that show was.
Right. You know, I remember when we first started the show, and it was this huge success, and talking to our dear friend Danny Burstein, who said to me, you know, I said, you've done so many shows on Broadway. You know, is it always like this? And he said, no, it is hardly ever like this. What's happening right now is like history. These things, this kind of success of a show like this really doesn't happen that often at all. And for it to be accepted so well by audiences and by, you know, everyone that was writing about the show and talking about it, having everybody embrace the show so much and so well, was really wonderful. How lucky we were to be a part of that.
So lucky. Yeah. And that's such a Danny perspective, and the beautiful way he sees the world, that he, you know, he's another one that's just so special. And
I love him so much.
The best.
You know, isn't it funny? You work with all these people, but truthful, I mean, we've joked around about it. You work with a great big group of people on stage, but there are really just a few select ones that you really take and pack into your heart.
Yeah.
And that will be with you. You realize that you've made friends for life.
Yeah.
And you are always going to be wrapped in each other's lives. And how lucky we are to have found that.
For sure. Wouldn't trade it for anything.
Mm.
Yeah. I was really excited to see that you are in a new HBO show called
Yes.
The White Lotus, which I've already watched the first 2 episodes of. It's amazing.
It's a fun, crazy show.
Yeah, it's perfect. Jennifer Coolidge is taking me out so far. She's so funny and wild.
She is incredible. You know, you're trying to film, you're trying to do this show, and you end up just being this fangirl.
Yeah.
On the side. We were
sure.
working in this incredible hotel on Maui that was shut down because of COVID. So we're living in a COVID bubble and being tested 3 or 4 times a week and taking all the precautions. And there were no other guests of the hotel besides our crew, the cast and crew. So to be sitting there and Jennifer Coolidge walks by, you know, you try to drink a glass of water and not spill it on yourself, because her and all of that wonderfulness that is her and those lips and those eyes walks by and sits down on the couch next to you, and you don't have anybody to tell. So I tried to keep those things to myself and be quiet, except one night, one of the stars in the show that I have been such a huge fan of, got in the elevator with me, and I lost it because and should I say who?
Yeah.
Her name sounds like Molly Shannon.
Uh-huh.
So when she got on the elevator with me, and amazingly, she looks like Molly Shannon because it is Molly.
Right.
I just fangirled. I lost it. You know, you want to be
sure. Nah.
Oh no. I was like, oh my God. I've seen you and I've laughed over you when you've been in my house and in my living room and my television forever. And I can't believe you're here. Anyway, so I told her this whole story about, she did a movie called Serendipity. And in one of the scenes, they're going around collecting all of those knockoff things in New York, you know, wallets and all of that. And they're picking up a wallet, and it's supposed to be Prada, but hers says Prado. It's a knockoff. And a girlfriend of mine and I have collected and traded Prado with each other all of these years. I mean, anytime you see some cheesy piece of knockoff, we'll buy it and give it to each other. So to actually meet the woman who started the whole Prado thing in our life and tell her about it, which I'm sure she just called security and said.
No, she loved it. You know, it made her day. I'm sure.
She's incredible. But it was like that. The cast for this show is incredible.
It's a great cast.
Just incredible.
Yeah.
And we got to stay on Maui for a whole month.
That's not bad at all. I mean,
in a resort.
You live in paradise already, but
I know, but you know, in a resort.
Yeah.
With a pool and the hot tub and you know, there were no pool boys.
Oh, that's a bummer.
You know, I know.
Yeah.
It was SAG. I was hoping, but
so you were staying where you were shooting.
Yes.
So when we see that beautiful resort, you were staying there as well.
We were staying there.
Wow.
So when they show rooms of the hallways, it's like, oh, that's my room.
That's amazing.
I remember hearing this scene being filmed because they were right next door. They were right upstairs.
What a wonderful experience. And
yeah, it was terrific.
And you have keep a lot watching. Oh, I will. I'm hooked. I love it. I hate that they've only released 2 episodes so far because I'm just waiting.
I know. I was hoping that it would be one of those things where they dump everything.
Yeah,
and binge on it, but
oh yeah, I would have been on my 3rd watching of the whole series by now. So yeah. And you have a lot of on-camera stuff coming up, a lot of film and TV, and you've been doing a lot of
I have
auditions from home.
I have another auditioning all the time at home, like everybody is. And by the way, if you have any self-tape hints for any of us out there. You know, you should do a
Oof.
whole show on self-tapes and outtakes
All right.
of self-tapes.
It's fun
Oy.
though, right? The whole self-taping thing, I really like it.
Is that what it's called? Fun. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
it's fun.
it.
Well, I find I learn about myself, and I think I become a better actor by having to watch myself more than I would.
Well, yes, if you call finding out that you're a better actor by watching yourself, but you're screaming out, I suck.
Well, yeah, but that's part of it. It's just part of the process.
It is
Yeah.
because you think you've got it. You think you're really on a roll and it feels good. And then you do a playback and you think, oh my God, I could have sent that off. But it is interesting because then you realize all of a sudden, wait, pull that back a little bit, tone
Right.
that down a little bit. And
Right.
and there was a show, a part that I got recently that I was fine with the takes that I had done. And then as I watched the playback, I just thought, no, you need to knock that down.
Mm.
And she needs to hang on to this one scene and this one look a few more seconds before you cut that off.
Yeah.
And so I said to my husband, who always helps me with these things, let me do one more take. And we did it. And I just zoomed in on her.
Yes.
And I said the line, I bit the word and
You got it.
tasted it.
Yeah.
And then we cut it and we sent it in and I got the role. So
I love that. But because
Yeah.
when we're in New York and going into the casting office for these things, we have no control over what we do, because if we fumble, that's that. And then
right.
we don't get to watch the playback and we don't get to
Right. And you know,
correct
the
ourselves.
thing I think that's also disconcerting when we go into auditions is sometimes the casting agents will lead us in a different direction
Right.
than, you know, if they allow us to do a couple of takes, they may lead us in a different direction that doesn't feel authentic
Right.
to us. And when they say something or suggest something, you get so lost in trying to figure out where they are and giving them what you think they want that you know it isn't the truth
Right.
at the time. And then you walk out and something in you says, oh, that's not going to work.
Yeah.
But you can't redo it. You're lost at
Nope.
all. So when you are at home taping yourself, you can follow whether or not they like it. You can at least follow what's right for you
Yeah. And you have this
and tell the
opportunity to-
truth for you.
Yeah. Trust your instincts. And because what the casting director says in the room might have absolutely nothing to do with what the director wants. They could just be
Right.
So yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
we're not knocking casting agents
No,
and
we love
casting
them.
directors.
We
We
love
love them. But there have been times where they have given me background information that we're not privy to, you know, when we may only be receiving sides that we're auditioning with.
Right.
And then I might get the role and get the script and see that what they had told me was not what was happening
Right.
whatsoever.
Right.
And you know, so you can listen to what they have to say, but really still do it where you're telling your own truth inside and being honest with that, and
Absolutely.
then you can be happy with it after that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you still need to do a whole show on that.
Okay. Perfect. Well, can I ask you some questions?
Sure.
Okay. Zodiac sign.
Aries.
Favorite ice cream.
Depending on the day, mint chocolate chip or vanilla
Mm.
with honey on it.
Oh, okay.
Have you ever poured honey on vanilla bean ice cream?
No.
Rock your world, change your life. You got to try it.
Okay.
Mm.
Okay. I will.
Okay.
First show you ever did in your life.
Including elementary school?
Yeah.
Kiss Me Kate.
Who were you?
I was Hattie. Another opening, another show in Philly, Boston, or Baltimore.
A chance for stage folks to say hello.
Another opening of another show. Yes.
Oh, I love that. That's wonderful. It's such a it's not a often done show, but such an iconic song.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Why is it not done that often? Has it not aged well? I haven't
I
even
don't
thought
know.
about that show in a long time.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll find out.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know somebody who could play Hattie.
Yes.
Petruchio.
Hey, anything.
Hey.
Yeah.
Let's do a show together again.
I would love that.
Oh God, so would I.
We will. Okay, your favorite work of art.
Gosh, almost anything by Monet.
Yeah, great answer.
I mean, every time I look at one and I think that's my favorite, then I see another piece of his work and that's my favorite. And we actually saw his display of work in Paris. And I sat in that room and sobbed because you could stand there and see the brushstrokes
Oh,
that he actually painted. And that was life changing.
oh,
So I can't say one in particular, but
oh, that's a great answer.
Yeah.
And seen in Paris. Come on. that's nice.
you know,
Yeah, it'll do. That'll do. Okay, you can only listen to one genre of music for the rest of your life. What is it?
jazz.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there are so many different levels of it that and so many textures of it that speak to all the different places in your life and times in your life. And that's it.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Favorite musical?
Favorite musical. You know, I've thought about this so much. And I have to say, just because of where it sits in my heart, The Sound of Music. I know it's, I mean, I know I should say South Pacific, but The Sound of Music is when I first really kind of became aware. I saw it on the big screen and there was something magical, absolutely magical about that movie. And whenever I see it, I'm 7 years old again. And Julie Andrews spinning around in the mountain singing the first line of that song is
Nothing like
breathtaking.
Yeah, agreed. All right, some easy ones. Coffee or tea?
And some great lessons in it. Coffee or tea? Oh, well, we're talking necessities and joys. Coffee. Although this morning I had both.
Oh,
because I needed the coffee and then I thought, okay, but I want dark roast coffee. It has to be a dark roast. And then I wanted a lovely cup of Earl Grey after that. So
sure. Favorite color?
Red. It's the Filipino in me. It's a neutral as far as we're concerned. It goes.
That's fascinating. Is it really?
It really is.
Yeah.
I love winter colors, royal blue and dark green. The strange thing is, as much as I love red, I don't want it in my house. I think maybe it's too stimulating for me, but that color just sizzles. It's everything. It's passion, it's appetite, it's food, it's electric, it's
Yeah. Your house is very calming and like a
my
sanctuary.
Landscaping has a lot of red in it.
Outside.
I have red torch ginger and red tea leaves and all of this red mixed in the landscaping, but inside the house it's very calm, it's very neutral and calm. And that's because we have crazy lives, my husband and I, and we kind of need that inside.
Yeah. It's very, very peaceful and lovely. And congratulations on your new curtains and pink color on
My
Instagram.
20-foot.
Amazing.
Yes.
What a project.
I sat down and sewed those babies myself because you can't buy any, you can't look at Pottery Barn and go, oh, those 20-foot curtains. And doesn't that sound braggadocious? But, we worked our whole life to be able to have a house that has 20-foot ceilings and you can't buy them, so you have to make them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love it. They look great.
Thank you.
Okay. You're not in showbiz. What's your backup dream job?
My backup dream job, and I'm not in show business. Gosh, I know what it's not. It's not teaching. It would probably be having a bakery.
Oh, you'd be tremendous
and
at that.
Being able to bake and create, it's the dream job.
Yeah.
The dream that it's actually a successful bakery and you're not losing your shirt every day and dripping with powdered sugar and that kind of stuff. But being able to create and bake and make people happy in that way.
Oh yeah,
that would be good.
Your bakery would be very successful. I've had your baked goods, and I'm always seeing pictures of them and your food. So I feel confident it would be very successful.
Oh, thank you. That means I'm gonna have to send you a box of cookies now.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yeah, you didn't say no.
I said, oh.
No.
Okay.
What's your favorite cookie?
Oh goodness, I don't know.
Okay, what are your favorite top 3 cookies?
Oh, I mean, chocolate chip is always
With or
right?
without nuts?
With
Okay.
or without. Both. Yeah, I don't know. Cookies are cookies. Yeah.
Cookies or cookie?
I can't think of a bad cookie. Can you?
I've had some bad cookies.
Oh yeah,
but no, actually.
not in name. No.
No, but if somebody gave you a box of cookies at Christmas time, what would thrill you the most?
Well,
If you opened it up and saw.
peanut butter, chocolate chip,
Okay.
chocolate, anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you like chocolate, honey?
I like chocolate. Yeah. And peanut butter.
Okay. Do you remember those cupcakes I used to make? Chocolate cupcakes with peanut butter frosting?
Yeah. 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 I remember
Yeah.
it was great.
My thighs remember them too. We call them all the time.
We were working so hard. We had to eat.
Yes.
Yeah.
We needed the energy to get through the second act.
Absolutely. It was
That's what I was said. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, you can go to any planet.
Yes.
Any planet.
What planet would that be?
Yeah. What planet would you go to?
Wow. Why not Venus?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why not Venus?
Yeah. You can spend an entire year living as someone else. Who is it?
George Clooney's wife?
Oh dear. Yeah.
Somebody else. Why would I want to be somebody else? I love my life.
I think that's a wonderful answer. Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't have to be someone else.
No, I mean, I live in Hawaii. I'm married to the husband of my dreams.
He's dreamy.
He is dreamy.
Yeah.
He is dreamy.
A lot of people want to be Beyonce or Oprah for a year, but I would choose you.
That comes with a whole other bag of stuff, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
do you want that?
Yeah.
If I could live an entire year of my life with Oprah's money,
Yeah.
and we could talk
Sure.
Oprah's money and Oprah's houses,
Yeah.
then we could, then,
Sure.
but I think
You've got
I
it
think
pretty
I-
good.
yeah, I
Yeah.
think I like my life.
I like it. Okay, you can go back in time to any time in your life and tell your younger self one thing.
You're gonna make me cry. You can only tell yourself one thing.
At any time in your life.
I think I would go back to when I was 5 years old and say, don't listen to what anybody tells you. You're perfect, just the way you are.
Wow. Yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I think if we could tell more kids that, let them know that from the beginning, that life would be markedly more enjoyable growing up.
Yeah.
These kids at that point, when you're kids can be kids, but sometimes kids can be really cruel.
Yes.
And adults can be really cruel. So to have somebody just kind of tell you that you're really good,
You're
just
pretty-
as you are, would change a lot of things.
Yep. Yeah.
I answered that without crying.
You do really well. All right, one more question. It's a big one.
Okay.
What is the meaning of life?
Um, you know, in my head, I was just listening to a James Taylor song that I absolutely love James Taylor. And do you remember when he came to our show?
Yeah.
Were you so with when he came? Yeah. And I still live for that day because I never thought I'd hear the words James Taylor would like to meet you.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah. But
Right.
he has a song called The Secret of Life.
Mm.
And the first line of the song is the secret of life is enjoying the passing of time. And I think that's just the first line. The song is so wonderful, but I think the secret of it, it's so easy and cliche to say love. Love's the reason, love's the secret of life. But we're here to learn love and know love and share love. But I think there's an equal part of that in learning forgiveness as a human being. The only way that you can really know love and express love is forgiveness. Too, you have to learn forgiveness for yourself, for others. With all the strife that's gone on in the world in the last, especially the last year, that's really been a lesson, I think, you know, is learning to forgive the anger that we've carried around, the anger we feel for each other, the anger that we see people projecting onto other people, and learning to love and get along. It seems so simplistic, but that's really what it's reduced to, I think, when we're breathing our last breaths. Are we really going to be worrying about, God, I wish I got that show? And, you know, how come I wasn't 20 pounds lighter or anything like that? You're just going to be thinking about those that you love. That's all there is. Yeah. Who loved you, who you express love to. You wish you could have loved them more or loved them longer or been with the ones that you loved more. That's the most important thing. There's a checklist. I have a checklist of things in my head, but love and forgiveness, I think, are probably the two most important.
Yeah. And forgiveness is love.
It is.
Yeah.
It's self-love.
Yeah.
Because a lot of us carry around stuff, ask me, I know, carry around stuff that, you know, whether somebody did something to you and that person isn't even thinking about it, and we're carrying this weight around all the time.
Right.
If you just let go of what somebody said and let go of what somebody did, and it doesn't matter. I think it was Maya Angelou once who was saying that forgiveness is not about a kumbaya, come on, I forgive you, let's all just get along and have lunch together now. It means, okay, I let it go. You're not living in my heart with all that anger. I'm not carrying that anger around. I'm letting you go. I'm forgiving you. Go on and do what you need to do. And then when you do that, you make a space in your life to love more. And whatever you're going to love in that place, yourself, your life, the people that do love you, you know, whatever it is, you can express so much more and feel that so much deeper when you let go of anger and forgive all of that. And it's a choice.
Yes. Yes. Amen. Well, this has been just as if I knocked on your dressing room door and you let me in, and we just talked for a long time and you filled my cup. So thank you so much.
Oh, honey, it's almost like you got to go up and do a scene now. And, you know, I'm going to watch your cute little butt as you walk out the door.
You can't say that.
I'm going to... It's cute. I've seen your butt.
Thank you.
It's
thank you.
cute.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, I love you so much. Thank you for coming on. Congratulations on the White Lotus and everything else you have coming up. I'm so excited to see you
Thank
on
you,
it,
honey.
and just can't wait to watch what you do next. And always
And I
such a
want to see
joy.
everything. I want to hear everything you're doing. And I can't wait until the next time I get to see you in person and wrap my arms around you and feel a big Zachy hug. I love you so much. And I'm so proud of you for everything that you're doing. You're continuing to do, the walls that you're breaking down, the statements that you're making. You're helping so many people. I'm so proud of you. My heart is filled with pride for everything that you're doing, and that I know you. I love you so much.
You're gonna make me cry. I love you.
Okay, I'm sending you cookies.
Okay. Pull my leg.
Okay, send me your address.
Okay. Talk to you soon.
That's all for today's episode. Thanks for joining us. Puppies and rainbows till we meet again. What do you think? Rainbows or puppies? What's cooler?